my iPad because I just realised that I forgot that. But apart from that, we were all ready to go. I've already made all the buttercream, and we're doing a 2-tier cake. We're actually recreating my birthday cake, which is quite like nostalgic, I think the word is, like reminiscing on that. So yeah, it's like exactly the same as my birthday cake. So I've crumb coated it. It's 2 tiers, so they're currently in the fridge, and then we're gonna stack them. We should be done, I'm hoping to be done in like an hour and a half, and then that means that they can sit in the fridge until 5 o'clock, which is when I'm gonna go and deliver them. So yeah, that is the plan. But yeah, and also it was a really last minute order. So luckily I had some leftovers from the dried flowers that I used for my birthday cake, and I'm also reusing the fan. So everything else apart from the main fan that was on top of the, oh fuck's sake, my Wi-Fi is playing up again, so bear with, I'm gonna quickly change that. Right, so I've changed it so that we should be able to use mobile data if my Wi-Fi doesn't work, because I don't want any blurry videos today. So yeah, we are reusing the spear, but I had plenty of the other flowers left from the set. It was from Mamie Peaches, like M-A-M-I-E, Peaches on Etsy, and it was £14 I think for the massive set. So yeah, you get a lot, and you don't actually need all of it for a cake, so luckily I had a lot left over. But yeah, I'm reusing the spear on top because it didn't get dirty because it was on the top of the cake, so there wasn't loads of buttercream on the top. So, and it's got like a really long stick, so it's quite good because if like for future reference for anyone else, like if you're making a cake for yourself or for someone else, then it means you can always reuse things like dried flowers because they're obviously dried, so they last for ages. But yeah, because it's so last minute, I could not actually get it, and she wanted it exactly the same, so that's what we're working with. I'm gonna run and get my iPad so that I can see the chat. Hello, Decadent Desserts. I'm also gonna open the blind because it's a little bit dark in here. I think that's a bit better. I'm at work and I'm listening to you with AirPods. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, it's because it's a collection at 5 and it's a 2-tier cake, so I didn't want to do it last night. But that's why we're doing like a midday live instead of a later one. But yeah, I'm gonna run and get my iPad quickly. BRB. Right. Just going to, oh, this has 81%. That's surprising. Usually it's about to die. So luckily we do not need to plug that in. Right, move the charger. I had a right mare, so I baked my postal brownies, and for some reason I put half the amount of sugar that was needed. Don't know why. I know the recipe off by heart, and for some reason I decided to do that. So I'm just rebaking those, so I'm gonna have to take them out of the oven, and they're gonna be posted today, but they're gonna be posted by 6 PM. So yeah, they're tracked 48, so they'll they will go and be with them by Saturday. But yeah, that was annoying. So that happened this morning. So I've redone those, but yeah, if I finish them earlier, then they'll go earlier, but it depends on the cake as well. So I have the chat up. Hi Mum, Mum is on the live, everyone, because everyone loves Jules. I'm off school today, so this is getting me through my schoolwork. Hi Freddie. It was boiling yesterday. I had to cook dinner and bake a cake. My fridge was melting. Yeah, when I was crumb coating these yesterday, they were just sliding all over the place. It was really annoying because one of them's got jam in as well, so it was not helpful. Hi Catherine, I literally just sat down whilst I wait for a chocolate cake to bake, and I was like, woohoo, perfect timing. Yeah, yep, perfect timing for lunch. Right, so It's 2 tiers, so we've got the top one just on a makeshift board. This was the one that was really hard to crumb coat because obviously it's 4-inch, so it was sliding all over the place. So I put another coat of crumb coat on it, so it's a bit of a thicker crumb coat because it was just so messy. Like, you know when you do a crumb coat and it's like just like spatula marks all over it, because I just couldn't go over it with a scraper, so I had to do it with a spatula because it was just so hot yesterday. But luckily it's fine today. Oh, there's a fly in here. That's really annoying. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. And that's another thing with the heat. There's like mozzies everywhere. There's just, I don't like it. I don't like the heat. I like it when it's cold. I like cold weather. Don't like hot weather. Right, so we have got a lot to do. I mean, I've got plenty of time, but you know what I'm like. I like to have stuff in the fridge for ages. So I want to have this cake in the fridge for like a few hours before it goes. This fly is already annoying me. This is going to be a problem. You can see it. Can you see it? It's really bothering me. Go away. Oh my god, I'm having a nightmare. So yeah, I want it to be in the fridge for a while. So I'm going to try and get these coated as quick as possible, because then it means that they can sit in the fridge. So I'm hoping that we finish by about 1:30. That's my brownies. And then it means that we can get on later on. Oh my god, this fly is really testing me. I will need to go and get that. I'm going to cover my buttercream because of this fly. Everything is going off at once. I cannot manage. Right. Cover that buttercream, and I'm going to take this cake with me because I do not want the fly going anywhere near it, so I'm going to carry this around here. Right, the brownies turned out as normal, so that's good, because like I forgot half the sugar, so they just didn't rise and they just looked really weird. They looked like a cake. It was quite weird. I was like, what has happened here? And then I remembered, I was like, wait a minute, I put in like 90 grams of sugar, and I was like, that's like over half, under half of what I need. I was like, why did I do that? But it's just because I was doing the cake as well as doing the brownies, so that was just like where I'm trying to multitask, and that's why you shouldn't multitask. Right. Oh yes. Thank God someone pointed that out. I usually pan the screen down, don't I? I forgot to do that. Luckily we are just, what do you call it? Doing the base coat. So I've put this on wrong, so bear with. I need to unscrew you and then put you back on the right way round so that I can actually tilt you round. Right, here we go. Don't know where that fly's gone. Right, I need to read these messages, there's so many. Right, there we go. We can move you. I can't get this tea towel in here. My friend asked me to bake a cake for her, and I said yes, of course. I asked when for, and she said tomorrow evening. I guess it's practice for me. Yeah, I mean, it'll be practice for last minute cakes, because like I say, this was basically booked in yesterday. Yeah, and it's obviously 2-tier, which is a pain because I had to go and literally buy everything. But obviously 2-tier cakes are a nice little earner, so that's obviously why I said yes. Right. So this tier is Victoria Sponge, and then the other tier is double chocolate, but because it needs to be a like cream or like light coloured cake, we're doing white chocolate buttercream for the bottom one, because that just makes your life easier. So it also allows you to colour it. I sometimes do plain flavoured, but I thought obviously for this, because it's double chocolate, I thought I'll just do white chocolate. Nice hairstyle, thank you. My hair's still wet because I washed it this morning, so I just shoved it up. I always attract wasps in my kitchen. I hate them and they creep up on you. Honestly, I hate flies because they just hover. Like, I don't mind if they sit somewhere and then I can like catch them, but when they're flying around my head, it's just not fun at all. Right. This is a little bit top heavy, which is fine. So what we'll do is I'm gonna try and straighten out the odd bit that's slightly like off-centering it, because the cake was stacked level, but it's where I was doing it in the heat, and then when you do your crumb coat and it's slightly wonky, then it puts your next coat on wonky, which is really annoying, even though the actual main cake isn't wonky. So, hi Jenny, there was a fire in a tyre factory in your town, so all the schools have closed because of the chemicals. In my town? Freddie, that's really, I haven't heard about that, if you're on about me. Do you need me to come and swap the fly away? If it comes back, I may need to. I'm supposed to be decorating 2 more cakes and now I'm distracted. I love your birthday cake, can't wait to see this one. Yeah, it's meant to be exactly the same, so I'm hoping that I can recreate it well enough that it is exactly the same. No, mine, that's why I'm not in school. Oh, I was a bit confused then. I was like, how do you know that my town has had a fire? That was worrying me then, because I was like, I don't even know. Right. So we're going to be covering this one because like on my birthday cake, it has those smudges on it, and it's also a drip cake, so we're not too worried about the top of it. But it needs to be fairly set before I do those extra bits. So we're going to focus on the bottom tier, and then we'll come back to this one. That's why I'm doing it first. Right. Which side's going to be the front? I think that's going to be the front. So I'm going to mark on the board. I just use a whiteboard pen because then it rubs off nice and easy. So that's going back in the fridge to set. And then we're just going to colour some buttercream for the other layer. Do you buy those, my things come undone. Do you buy those white cake walls or do you cover them yourself in white? I always cover them myself. It's cheaper and it's not actually very difficult. So it's just, you can do it as and when, because the thing is, there's no point in me buying a white board because they're more expensive when it's going to be a covered board. So like today's is a covered board, so that's why it's not going to be white. So I buy silver ones, and then it means that if I need to, I can cover them in white. But if someone's having a buttercream covered board or a fondant covered board, then I don't cover it in white contact paper. So then that saves me money there. And then obviously if they want a completely white board, then it gets covered. So it just allows you to cover them as and when you need to, basically, because not all designs need a covered board. So move that. I need lots of little bowls. So I've got one container here. Actually, I'll use this one. Right, that's going to be my scraps one. And then I've got 2 bowls. I need one white, one yellow, one orange, and one pink. So I need a couple more. So, I'm going to put that aside uncoloured for white. I don't have any Wilton white, but it's like a creamy white. It's not meant to be like an ice white. So I just mixed it a lot more to get the creamy white colour. And then the others are just pastel. So just remembered I need, put that back in there. This is white chocolate buttercream. So I'm gonna add the white chocolate whilst it's all one colour. And then we will, I've also got some more buttercream already made in another container, in my KitchenAid one. So what I'll do is add a bit more to it. Need an extra spoonful, I think. How much have we got there? And then that, so that's for, sorry, I'm just like working this out in my head. That's for the 6-inch cake. And then because we've covered the other one, we don't need very much to then go on that one. And then we need the board. So yeah, that should be enough. So we're gonna put that to one side. Right, we're gonna move over to the microwave. That can stay there. I don't know why I'm taking that with me. We need some chocolate. Right, I will answer questions now. Just put you back up. Right. So, how much are you charging for this cake? So this is a 6 and a 4-inch cake, and it is £110. The customer did barter with me a little bit. I didn't go down in price, but that's why I didn't buy new dried flowers. I used ones that I already had, because then I could add a little bit more on, but not too much, because I didn't think that they wanted to pay the extra. So instead of it being like £15 for the dried flowers, I only added on 5, but I'm using spares from a set that I've already bought. So, but obviously it's still spares that I can't then use, so that's why you charge for it. But yeah, 110, so that is, off the top of my head, because obviously I've written it all down, but I think it's 50 for the 4-inch drip cake, and then 60 for the 6-inch cake, and that is not a drip cake, but it's a scallop edge, and it's also multicoloured, so obviously there's a lot more colourings used. And what else? There's lint on it. There's a couple of chocolate pops, I think there was 3 chocolate pops. So yeah, that's how I like come to that price basically. So yes, that is how much I'm charging for this. I'm not charging for delivery only because one, it's in the centre of town, so it's not that far, and also because they'd already paid, and then they said, oh, can you deliver? And I was sort of like, oh yeah, that's fine. And because they had already paid, it would have been more hassle to ask for like the £4, and I thought it's already £100 cake, so I'm just gonna like not bother with that. Like I'm not worried because it's a big cake. If it was like a box of brownies, then if you're making like £15 from them, then it's more worth it to charge for the delivery, because obviously you're not making very much. So yeah, that's why I was kind of like, oh, I won't bother with the delivery. But if it had been paid in advance, then I would, but it's because it was so last minute. How do you get your buttercream not to split? When I add dye, it looks like it's split. I'm not sure if it's because it was so hot in my kitchen. It might partly be that, but what colouring are you using? Because certain colourings are more watery. So you don't want to use anything like supermarket colourings. Don't touch any of those. They are terrible. So I only use Colour Splash pretty much for buttercream. I only use Colour Mill for, what is it? Chocolate. I don't really use Pro Gel anymore. Again, that used to only be if people were like vegan, but I don't do that anymore. I've stopped doing like allergen and dietary cakes just because it's, like, as horrible as it sounds for the people ordering, it's a lot of hassle. And obviously if I'm doing any other cakes, it's a lot easier for me to just do the recipes that I know rather than having to think about it. So that's why I'm not actually doing any like vegan or dairy free or anything like that. So I won't be using Pro Gel anymore because I only used it because it was vegan, or most of the colours were vegan. So I use that as like an alternative, but yeah, mostly just Colour Splash for buttercream. Very rarely Sugar Flare, but that's only if I can't get a specific colour. I'm only venturing into doing cake pops and took your advice on using Colour Mill, but do you find because white chocolate isn't a true white that the colours aren't very rich and vibrant? I don't know. It depends. I find that certain white chocolate is more white than others. And also, if I do it for longer periods, if I like over melt it, then it goes more yellow. So this one is quite a good example because this is very white. It needs slightly longer, but I only do mine in 20-second bursts. I find that if I do like 30-second bursts, it goes a bit more yellow. I don't know why that is, but it just seems to do that. So I would suggest that it might also be that, but try different chocolates. I use just the standard cooking chocolate that most shops sell. I used to use Milky Bar, which can usually, when it melts, give more of a yellow tone. When it's normal, like normal white chocolate buttons, they look white, but then as soon as I melt it, it goes a bit yellowy. So I don't know if it's something to do with Milky Bar, but most of the time cooking chocolate is your best bet because it melts well. Either that or I can't pronounce it, so don't correct me, but Cowbolt, whichever one it is, because I use that for the chocolate slabs, and that stays pretty white. So yeah, it just depends. But I don't know if you can see, obviously the microwave light is very yellow, but this is quite white. So yeah, I mean, that's white to me anyway. You can use things like Colour Mill white. I have Colour Mill white, and then it means if I'm trying to get a very specific colour and it can't be like watered down or anything like that, then I'll add Colour Mill white and then add the colouring afterwards, and then it gives it that nice white tone. But as you can see, that's pretty white. I have seen ones that are way worse when it comes to going yellow, so I would say that cooking chocolate is probably your best bet. So we're just going to add this to our buttercream, and then we're going to start mixing. It was Blue Gel Wilton. See, I never use Wilton. I've only used Wilton Red, and that was once, and I found that it went really watery, so that might be similar to you. But yeah, I personally don't use Wilton. I just don't get along with it. I only use Sugar Flare, like I say, and that is only for red. I only have Sugar Flare red, don't use it for anything else. And that's because red is such a difficult colour. But for things like black, I use Colour Mill or Colour Splash. So yeah, are there any lumps? No. So yes, right, we're gonna add this in. Right. So I am just going to pour this in. I usually leave a little bit out because it changes the texture, because it's obviously melted chocolate. So I don't like to add too much in. Right, so that's fine. I'm gonna leave this little bit extra that I had because it's nice and soft, so I don't want to ruin the consistency. I've been buying Asda's white chocolate chips, but they do already have a creamy look to them, so I suppose your chocolate looks a lot whiter than mine. Yeah, I find that chocolate chips are very yellow. I use bar chocolate for any like melting, apart from the Cool Ball, just because that's obviously kind of like a designer chocolate, I would say. So that obviously you can't change, because if you want it to be that brand, then you have to buy that one. Whereas if you're just making white chocolate buttercream, it doesn't need to be that brand, so then you can go for whichever one is the lightest. So yeah, it just depends. I'm getting this all over me. So I'm just dividing buttercream all over me. This into equal portions. This is proving very messy, even though it should be a very simple task. Right. So I've got a slightly smaller portion of white because we don't need as much. It's a very like colour based design. So, and then we're just gonna we're using Colour Splash, and we're using pale pink, orange and lemon, and we're gonna make some pastel colours. I remember doing a black cake before I had Colour Mill, and I added so much black to make it go dark it stained everyone's teeth. It was just for family, so it was quite funny. Oh my god, yeah, that can be difficult. I always recommend people that if they are going for a black cake, that they have chocolate flavour. And if they're not having chocolate flavour, then you can do things like spray the cake. I've never done that or never needed to, because like I say, everyone always goes for chocolate when they're having a black cake, but you can spray it black if you need to. It's just like another option for you, but most of the time people know that you might not be able to have like a vanilla cake black. But it really just depends. So a little bit more to the orange. I will pan you down in a minute. I need to wash my hands first because they're covered in buttercream. I want these to be slightly more vivid. I'm just adding a little bit at a time because I obviously don't want to go too like bold orange, but at the same time I don't want them too pastel. So that's the orange done. There you go. It's a bit dark in here, so it looks a bit more pastel-y. I'm going to turn the light on. Bit brighter. Then we need another spatula. I am convinced that my spatulas have done a runner because I can't find some of them. I've got my 2 spoon spatulas, but I prefer not to use these. I prefer like just the flat ones. Right, the yellow always needs a lot less than all the other colours, so that's nice and easy. So, yellow is done, and then we have pink. So, pink needs a little more. Right, pink is done. Right, clean that off. That's the thing that I don't like about it, because it's spoons. They're obviously curved, so you can't just scrape it on the side of the bowl. I need to buy more spatulas because I go through them so quickly. Right, so I need to put these in piping bags because we need to blotch it on the cake. So we actually have 3 left, 3 little ones, and then I've got bigger ones for when I need nozzles. So now I compare the pink and the orange. I want the orange to be a little bit darker, so add a teeny bit more to that. There we go. So add that in. I'm just going to bag these up. First one I've managed to watch live. Oh wow! Well done for managing to get on. I usually do the evening ones, but this is obviously one that's during the day, so depends if people are more available in the evening or not. I've put a little bit too much in here. Was wanting to make a cake all week, but I had to wait for a COVID result. I got and I'm negative, so we'll definitely be making a cake today. I would have definitely just made one for myself, I think, because I would be so bored if I had to isolate. Oh, I'm getting this all in my hands. Need to keep getting buttercream all over me. Right. Right, I'm just putting the pink in a piping bag. Yeah, I work nights, so I always catch up in the morning. Oh, yeah. Yes, it's difficult to catch everyone, but I'm trying to, at least when I have cakes that are in the evening, do ones during the day, so then I catch other people as well. Now for the yellow, and then we can start spatulas. Using palette knives. Right, so there we go. So that is all mixed, and the scraper I'm using is this one. It's the Finch Bakery scallop, so it's like the medium scallop. So need scissors. Right, here we go. I've overfilled 2 of these bags, so we're going to have to be careful with that. I need to put my white in a bag as well. I think I was just gonna like plonk it on where I needed it, but might as well. So right, done. Pan you down. So right, so we got chocolate on the outside, and then we got white chocolate going around that. For double chocolate, that's usually how I do my cakes that need to be lighter. So I'm hoping that these don't like leak where I've overfilled them. So we're just going to do plonks of colour basically. So just completely random. They can be dots, they can be lines. I'm just going to do a mixture. And if there's obviously a colour that you want to be more prominent, then do that. I think pink and yellow were the more prominent colours the last time I did this. So I do like a base, and because this is not a drip cake, I have to cover the top. And then go in with all the colours, and then you can always go back and add more if you need to. We've got to cover the dark. When I did this on my cake, the base was Victoria Sponge or white chocolate and raspberry, so it made it easier to cover. So you need to make sure that you're not going to have any brown showing. Then we're going to go in with some white. And I have got more white if I need. Oh no, it's escaped. So wipe that on there. And then we're going to go in with orange. You don't have to fully cover the top because there will be excess from the sides, so we just need to fill in all the gaps on the sides mainly. So I'm going to go in with pink again. Then what I'm going to do is if I need to add any white back in, then I can afterwards, but I don't want to add too much white because I want it to be mainly colour. So I'm going to start off with the scallop edge and just do like a rough coat like that. So I can already see that we want some more yellow in there. So you just plonk it on in any gaps. And you want to do it early because as soon as it starts smoothing, then you don't want to be adding. As soon as you haven't got any holes, you don't want to then add your colours. So you want to fill any of the holes that appear. we're just going to tidy up this little, there we go. Go around once again so that it's all kind of like uniform. There we go, perfect. So then we just smooth the top out. So we do this on the top and then we go back around the sides to get rid of any kind of like messy bits that you get around the ridge here at the top. And then there's a few little peep bits, so you just go back over those where the cake peeps through and just make sure that they're covered. So perfect. So and then go and clean up any edges again. That edge is annoying me, so I'm gonna go back and add in so that we can like redo that. It is pouring with rain. It's just randomly started. Right, so that is the front. So we're going to quickly refrigerate that while I do slight tidying. So there it is. As you can see, it's got a mixture of colours. Can't see, you can probably see better here, judging by the camera, but yeah. Scallop edge. So and then we're going to go back in with these colours that are in here, and we're gonna, actually we've got some spare, but I'm gonna put a couple of pieces that are mixed colourings, if that makes sense, and we're just gonna smudge it on there, and then I'll go in with solid colours as well. And then we're going to use our scraper just to smudge that out. And then we mainly want orange. Then just go in scraper. Do you use dowels when stacking? If so, what ones? I will show you. You have to use dowels when you're stacking cakes. If you don't, then they will just sink completely, which is never good, and they will just fall over. Yeah, I've never heard of a cake without dowels that stays. It's one of the like fundamental parts. So I will show you that. We're gonna add slightly more orange there. Right, I think we're just going to go with that because it will have a drip on it, so it's meant to just be very slight, not very much. So I'm going to shove that back in. Before we do the drip, we'll have to stack them, so I will do that in a minute. So we're going to give them about 10 minutes in there because obviously they've just been iced, so I don't want to then stack them straight after. So yeah, we need to give them a little bit. The rain just started here as well, exact same time. Thanks for the weather update. Well, it's raining and I'm going to have to deliver the cake in the rain, so that's why I'm updating everyone, because I do not want to be carrying a cake in the rain. Right, so what do we need? I need to splatter the paint on the cake, and I also need to add gold leaf. So silver, gold, so I do not have any gold paint, which I haven't had for a little while because I need to go and get some, but I found a trick. So I use my silver. So this is the metallic light silver paint. It's the rainbow dust one, and then I've got the pink one. So we're using the pink as it is, but the silver one, I add a little bit, ignore the pink paint all over it, but I use a little bit of Colour Splash Soft Caramel, which is like a goldy kind of colour, and I mix them together and then it makes a gold paint. So yeah, and then I splatter that all over the cake. So we've also got gold leaf, so we'll put those both on before we stack, I think. I'm going to do it to the base one before we stack, and then I can touch the top one afterwards. So I'll wash my hands, and then I'm just going to pan you up a little bit while we are waiting. So, just thinking. So I'm going to put these sprinkles on the base tier. They're not on the top tier, they're only on the drip of the top tier, they're not on the actual base. So I've got my ones that I always recommend. It's the tiny little pink balls and the white ones. And like I say, these last forever. I've literally had these for a good few months and I use them on every cake. They are something that I always use. This one is a new packet, but the white ones I've had for ages. But yeah, they are really, really good. And Sprinkler UK have really long dates on their stuff. These, all of my sprinkles that I've got in that little pot that I have over there, because I have way too many for my own good, they're all 2022, which, considering I bought them like beginning of this year, they're all like March 2022, whereas there's quite a few sprinkles from places like Tesco's, or even just like Baking Time Club, who I also used to buy off, and they would always have like 6 months dates. And if they're things like this where you're buying so many different ones of them, you don't want them to have short dates, because otherwise you can't physically use them, because I use a little of a lot of different sprinkles on my cakes rather than just one lot of sprinkles. So it's a lot more effective if they have longer dates, because then I can buy loads of different ones and use loads of different ones, but they're not going off. But yeah, Sprinkler UK I think is probably one of the best. I use them on all my cakes. I don't really use any others. I have Tesco's ones, but I rarely use them now. I've got a massive drawer of them here, and I need to get rid of them because they all go off in, I think, November and December. There's a couple that are next year, but most of them go off this year, so they'll either be thrown out or used up, because like I say, they have really short dates. I think I bought them in maybe like May, June time, and then I stopped buying them because I realised they had really short dates, and they've only got like 6 months. So yes, so we're gonna leave the base tier in there another 5 minutes, because we can add the gold leaf and that to that whilst it's not set, if that makes sense, whilst it's not hard to touch. But the drip of the top tier, that one, because I need to stack it, it needs to be set so that I can actually like put my hands on it and stack it. Otherwise you're just gonna like make a dent in the buttercream, which we don't want. So yes, if anyone has any questions, ask away. And I'm gonna make this paint once I've drank this tea. I'm gonna get a little egg cup because that's what I use for my paints. So this is my little egg cup, and we're gonna put some silver in there. And then we're gonna mix it. So I literally do 1 drop of that because it is quite strong. So we need a big one and a little one, and you want paintbrushes that are, what do you call it, quite like they're not very floppy. Like this is very fluffy, but this, it means that if you were to flick it, it would actually flick paint, because otherwise they won't flick very well. So I'm going to use the bigger one for the gold, and then I'll use the little one for the pink. So we are, so as you can see, we've made a like champagne gold, which again I like it more because the gold paint is really orange, whereas this is more of like a champagne, like white gold, which is a lot nicer, especially on like the pastel cakes. So that is that made. So, and then the pink one, I just pour it into the lid because obviously it's already made. So I just, or I dip the brush in there because like I say, it's not actually being painted on something. If you're touching the cake, then you don't want to dip your brush back in because you're going to be contaminating. But because I'm literally just flicking paint, that's fine. But yeah, usually I put it in the lid because then you can pour it back in if you don't use it all. But again, if you're touching the cake, you can't pour it back in. So we're going to get that out the fridge, and we're going to add some of the details to it. So I'm just gonna, now it's been in the fridge a little bit, flatten some of these edges without completely just like flattening them. I want to kind of mute them a bit. I want them to be rough edges but not too rough. But if it's soft buttercream, then you just end up smudging. So So this way it just sharpens it a bit more. Right, we're gonna go for that. So I'm gonna go wash my hands and then we'll flat up. Right, so the easiest way to do this is to use your finger. I've tried it so many times with gloves and the glove just ends up getting covered in paint. So you don't want too much on there. You want like enough that it's going to drip. And then just go crazy with it. I'm going to splatter a little bit on the top because you may be able to see it around the edges when it's stacked. Just filling any gaps. I like it to be quite noticeable, especially on this cake it was very noticeable. So we've got plenty left. I probably made a bit too much. I need a little container. I might see if I can find one, a little container that I can then put the paint in, because this is just like a screw top. So if I can put it in anything, that's the only thing about the salted caramel. The colouring stains your hands so badly because you're mixing it with paint, and the paint is paint so it doesn't stain, whereas food colouring stains. So yeah, that's the only thing. And you can't wear gloves because it doesn't work with gloves, so it's a right pain, but it makes it look nice, so that's the main thing. So we are going to go in with the pink. So I'm going to try just dipping it because we don't need a lot. I recommend the bigger brushes more than the little ones, just because the little ones are more precise and you don't want it to be precise, you want it to be more random. So there we go. So that is done. Then we are going to add a little bit of gold leaf, mainly where we can see it. I always use the paper to apply it just because otherwise it is a pain, because it just comes off on your fingers or on paint brushes, so I use the paper that it comes in to actually put it on the cake. So add a little bit more. We don't want a little bit more on this side. There we go. So that is that. We're gonna put the dowels in so that I can show you while the other one's in the fridge. So is the little board that I'm going to be using. That is the little board. Just double check sizing. So this board is going to be in between the two cakes. So what we need to do is make sure that these 4 dowels don't go outside of this, because the whole point is that it rests on it. If it doesn't rest on it, then it's completely pointless, because it will just say it's like that and the cake is slightly outside. This dowel is just going to work its way through the top tier based on the weight of the cake, and then you'll end up with your tiers cutting through your top tier. So you have to have a board in between. If you don't, like I say, it's pointless because your dowels will go through. It'd be better to have no dowels and no boards than to have dowels and no board, because it will just cut through. And like I say, if you don't have dowels, then it's very likely that even if your cake is stacked perfectly, it will either fall over because the top tier has no tether to the base one. So we're going to be using a skewer which goes between the two, so that keeps them together, and then these dowels keep it supported. So you need one thing to keep it straight, which is your skewer that goes the whole way through the middle, and then you need your 4 dowels which keep the weight of the top cake from just collapsing the bottom one, because it can't take the weight. It's a bit like when you put alcohol bottles on the top of a cake. The weight of that, certain ones you do have to put dowels. So if I do a Corona bottle, which is like a popular design of mine, then I always put a dowel underneath it so that when the Corona bottle's on top, it's not going to just crush the cake. So yes, that is that explanation. So what we need to do is cut these to a rough height. So you do it slightly above where the cake is. Oh, we're going to drop them. Grab a new one. Where are they? So we're going to go for that, and as you can see, it's slightly taller. So what you do is you put them all in first, and then you cut them all to size. So I'm just going to match all of them so that they all are the same. And then we're going to make sure that I need to stop this from turning. There we go. Then we're going to make sure that we're within that area. So I'm just doing like a demo version to make sure we're all within, which we are. And then you just push those through the cake. If it's been refrigerated, it will be a little bit stiffer, so you just have to really push down. They're just jumbo straws off Amazon, nothing special. Just type in jumbo straw and you'll find it. A lot of people ask me for the link. I don't have it because I bought like hundreds, so I've got so many left, but literally any jumbo straws will be fine. They're all exactly the same. So they do not want to go in, so we're going to give them a second because the cake has been in the fridge all night. So it's probably that they are it's a little bit hard, so we're going to give that a minute. The fly is back. There we go. Hurts your fingers pushing them down, so I'd recommend using something else. Oh, we don't want to do that. So right, so I think he is all the way through. Hurts my fingers. This fly needs to go away. Right. We are getting there. So if If they need, give them a wiggle. Oh no, okay. This is why I was going to wait, because I've just damaged the side. That's really annoying. So, and it happens to be the front. Right, this is going to go back in the fridge because I do not want to touch it. So, I need to add a little bit of buttercream to that. Gosh, this is so tense, guys. This is why we don't do stacked cakes on lives. Right, so that corner needs to be re-scraped. Right, surprisingly, that didn't do too much damage. Right, so we're going to put that gold leaf back there because I just scraped it off. It is so hot in this room, which just is not helping. Right. We're gonna need a new dowel. Okay, we're stopping with the dowels because they're stressing me out. Okay, we're going to put 2 new ones in because those 2 aren't playing ball. So, right, refrigerate before I do something. Right, that was stressful. So, I need to wash my hands because those dowels were annoying me. Right. So, we need to put our middle skewer in. We need 2 more dowels. However much we cut off. Right. So, I have so if I can, I want to use this instead of this little one that I've got, so I'm going to cut it to size because it's a cardboard one, so I'd prefer to use that, and it's slightly thicker as well. So that is cut to size. Well, If that was me, I would have literally cried and left. No, we must carry on. Also, it's easier to make holes in this. So, yeah, that is what we want. So you want to make a hole, go like that a bit, so that when they take off that top tier, it's going to come off nice and easy and not be a pain. So you want to make sure the hole is right size. So there we go. That will go on the base of our top tier, and then we've got 2 extra dowels. I might try and put these on in the fridge if I can. Right, we got them in. So they are in. Crisis averted, everyone. So what we are going to do is cut them all to the same height. Obviously, areas of your cake can be higher than others, so make sure that I do it when they're in the cake because, like I say, different areas are different and you don't want it to be wonky. So, you just have your scissors flat. And then they should be, as long as they are very, very close, if they are miles off, then your cake will probably topple and be wonky. I'm just making sure that the actual straw is not like bending, if that makes sense. And then you want to put your dowel in. You want it to be spiky side upwards. Because that will break through the top tier basically. I want to make sure that that's to the bottom, just after the issue we had with the dowels. So I've made a hole, and yes, that is to the bottom. Because I wasn't sure whether it was actually that the dowel was to the bottom, or whether it was where the buttercream is slightly harder on the base, so then when you're pushing it through, it's not going through. But no, we're fine. So what you're going to do is you want to cover your dowels, because that will stick to the board, and it also just makes them nice and even. Again, these are just food skewers, so you literally just like Amazon or Tesco's. They're nothing fancy. And then this fresh buttercream that you're putting on is gonna stick to that board that is underneath, so that's why you need to do that. Right, we need to make space for this in the fridge before I start this, because otherwise we're not actually going to be able to fit it in there. So we need to make some room. I have a few things in here which don't need to be in there, so we're going to take those out. Right, then we have our little tier. Just put this over there. So, one shelf out. I think I'm going to take the other one out as well. So we are going to put this one, do we want to put it back in? Yeah, we're going to put it back in quickly. Yeah, perfect, we've got plenty of room in there, so that's good. And we're going to swap this cake onto the little board. So what we do is you just use an old board. This is one that I've used for our cake, so it's just like scratches, but that's not a problem. It's literally just to flip it over. So I always keep like an old board for flipping cakes, because you don't want to use new ones because then obviously it dirties it. So we want to avoid that. So hold it at the top, hold it at the base. You need to press down pretty hard, otherwise it will slip out your hands. I have had that almost happen before. Luckily it didn't actually happen. Where's my knife? I had a knife here earlier because I used it to cut the base of the cake. I don't know where that's gone. So sharp knife, and you just want to go around and score the cake, and then you want to gently go around every edge and lift it off. If it decides that it's going to pull buttercream that is further down, you sometimes get cracks, and that's where you haven't scorned it enough, so then you need to score the sides again, because it shouldn't pull any of the buttercream from the side. Where you're ruling it with your knife, that should just cut that edge, and then you're just going to keep doing this basically until it comes off. If it's more set, then it will sometimes take a little longer, and then you can just go in and pry it off once you've got that sharp edge. There we go. Ta-da! So that goes over there. Oh, there's my other knife, but it has chocolate buttercream on it, so we couldn't have used it anyway. And what we're going to do is put some buttercream on the base of here, because obviously you don't want it to not stick. So then you put this. You want it to be approximately the same size. This is 4 inches, but obviously this cake has about 3/4 of an inch of buttercream around it. That's like either side, so it's maybe like 1/2 inch either side. So your board is not going to necessarily be the same if you're putting a 4-inch board on. So that fly needs to go away. We're going to take this off here, rest it there for a minute. We need to be pretty quick because you don't want it to soften. I saw that come in with the door. Don't want it to hit the cake. So we've got a little crumb, chocolate cake crumb there. Wipe that off. So going to go back in and smooth those edges after we had that little mishap. So we're going to stack now. So you need to decide on where the front is, and it's going to be where there's more orange. So put your dowel in. We need to stop the cake from turning. So and then you just need to push down until it's where you want it. Make sure that it's not wonky. So we have a little gap, but that's all right. It's just where the board is in between the gap. So I'm going to go for that because we will cover that gap. So it's touching the cake, so that's fine. it's where there's a gap from the board. That's what you want to make sure. You don't want there to be a gap in between the cake where it hasn't come down on the skewer all the way. As long as it's all the way down on the skewer, this gap here is from the board, so then you can hide it with buttercream, which is what we're going to do. So I'm going to shove that in the fridge quickly because we want to just give that a second before we start messing around with it for a little while. So this is really weird because it's obviously the same as my birthday cake, so it's just so unusual. So I'm probably going to add the piping whilst it's in the fridge because I can bring it out, but we need to tidy this space up a little bit. So move you around. Lots of empty bowls here. Right, now I can look at the chat because I've sorted that out. That was stressful. So, you're not alone, Amy. 2-tier cakes are an absolute nightmare. I've done 2 and they're the worst experience. Never again. See, I love 2-tier cakes, but it's because sometimes when you're putting the dowels in, it can just be a pain. I use cake is crumb coated, but I forgot. So I mean, it doesn't matter when you put them in. You can put them in when it's crumb coated, or you can put them in when you've done the final coat. But obviously, because they are jumbo straws, they can sometimes bend, obviously what it did just then. So then you put your hand through the cake. It's fine if it's really, really set, but obviously I'm putting them in quite soon after I've done the final coat. I would usually leave it longer. So yeah, it is annoying when it does that. But yeah, I don't usually mind them as long as you've got lots of time to prep. Like I say, this was a very last minute order, which is why the prep is slightly shorter. I would normally have baked the cake yesterday, crumb coated, stacked, which is what I did, but I would have had it set a lot longer, and then I probably would have started to do the decoration either last night or this morning. But because it was so last minute, yeah, it's just taken a little bit more planning basically, because you haven't got that time to plan. It was meant to be a single tier cake and it changed to a 2-tier cake yesterday. So I knew about the cake, but I didn't know that it was a 2-tier until yesterday. So that's why we're a little bit off with the planning, because obviously it's basically like doing 2 cakes. It's the same time span as doing 2 cakes rather than just doing 1. So yeah, it's definitely taking longer. Where did you get your planner on your fridge? Did you get the whole scamming nightmare sorted? I will put a link in this description. It will be later because I'm obviously like busy currently, and I will be in a little while, but I will make sure to add it in later. So if you come back later this evening, like have a few checks, then I will put the link to the planner, and I'll put it on my Instagram because I've had a couple of people ask, and I only just found the shop. It was a birthday present, so it's from someone on Etsy, but I found the little like business card that they send with it, so then I found out who it was, but because it was a gift I didn't know who it was from. But yeah, it's just someone on Etsy who customizes them. She actually did it custom. She doesn't usually add like the logo, and she matched the colors of the little boxes that are on it. So like these boxes here, she matched the pink to my logo so that it would be an exact match, whereas apparently she doesn't usually do that, but she did it for this particular order, so that was really nice of her. So yeah, it looks lovely, and I love a planner, as most people know, so I love just having another list of stuff basically. And in regards to the scamming nightmare, all the stuff is off the person's website. They've now added a load of other stuff. Some of it looks shop bought, so yeah, I'm just leaving them to it. I will probably send a letter to them in a few weeks, just as like a reminder that I haven't forgotten, and that you still need to make sure that the stuff remains off the website, just so that they know that they can't then go, oh, it's been a couple of weeks, I'll add the stuff back on. So it will just be like a formal letter, so that it's not just like messages being exchanged. But yeah, it seems like they've moved on. I mean, I've blocked them on everything, so they can't exactly, the only thing that they can watch is YouTube, but I don't really care about that. But they can't look at any of my Instagram, and my website is all watermarked, and so is my Instagram, so they can't nick any of my photos because everything's watermarked now. So yeah, that is the update on that. The cake looks amazing. I've been watching whilst baking my orders today. Today's cupcakes are Kinder, red velvet and chocolate, and a chocolate cake. What's your flavours? The top tier is Victoria Sponge with strawberry jam, and the base tier is double chocolate, so it's got white chocolate and dark chocolate, or like milk chocolate buttercream. So yeah, that is the flavours. We're going to give it like, I think until 40 past, so like a couple of minutes, and then I'll get it out and just add the little borders and quickly cover the board, I think, and then we'll add the drip afterwards. Do you find it hard to crumb coat taller cakes? I always find they wobble about and go slightly wonky. It's fine if it's not like yesterday where it's like 25 degrees, that's really annoying, but I stack them, and then I don't do the outside coat. So I stack the in-between layers, shove it in the fridge for about 15 minutes, then take it out and crumb coat the outside, because you'll find that if you wobble the board, it won't move because the inside layers in between each kind of like slice of cake have set, so then it's going to like act like glue. So I do that, take it out, crumb coat it, shove it in there for a good few hours, and then I take it out and do the final coat. So yeah, 4-inch take a lot more time. Although 4-inch are quicker to decorate final decorations, they're longer to crumb coat, so that's how you get away with pricing them very similarly, because they do take as much time but just in different elements. I can watch all your daytime lives because I'm self-isolating, lol. I think this one will be a daytime live, and then there's a cake on Sunday, so that will be an evening live on Saturday night. That's the next live I'll be doing, because that'll be for Sunday, so I'll want to get it done the night before, because I'm not sure whether she's coming in the morning or not yet. So I need to put a nozzle on this bag. So where am I? Wrong one. I've run out of my little piping bag, so we're going for the bigger ones. So we're going to go for, that's the 1B. I want the smaller one. We've got a lot of nozzles in here. Oh, here we go. So we want the 2D for this, and it's a slightly smaller one. The Wilton 1B is the other one, but it's a bit big for borders. So and we're going to do a piping bag inside a piping bag for this one. So, oh, I need the nozzle in there. That'd be helpful. I don't need you. Right. What are we doing? So, border. I'm going to cut that because I'm worried about it going into the cake. And then we're literally just gonna create a border. Almost. I need a teeny bit more of orange. Oh, there's plenty in there. I thought that was all the orange that I had, but we have some more. Hey sweet Amy, I've missed so much, but the best is yet to come by the looks of it. Yes, so we are just covering the board. So just completely random, doesn't really matter too much, just as long as it looks pretty. So and I'm going to leave some gaps because we will be adding a different nozzle, and then we can do a different style on it. Right, so swap nozzles. Where's the other one? Right, so where's the front? Here we go. Oh no, fly. God. That fly disappears and then it comes back and haunts me. Right. So we're gonna, this is the star nozzle that I always go on about. It's not any brand, it's Amazon, so yeah, that's that. Right, so for this, because it's completely random, I'm just going to pipe loads of colours because it's for the board, so we just want lots of different colours. So I'm piping some pink in there, and then I'm going to add the leftover like mix of colour, and then I'll add a little bit of white as well. Bit of orange left over, and then we also need a little bit of white. Not sure how much I'll need, so I'm just going to add some and see how we go. Right, so as with the other one, we're just going to do some random blotches. So first that's coming out is pink, so that's why I'm moving it around the board, and then orange is going to come out, and then we got white. I'm going to just bring up Right, now for the white ones. I'm just going to reset Wi-Fi because for some reason we're having issues. Just goes a bit blurry. It doesn't actually like cut out. I don't know why it's actually like stopping because it's never usually done that. And then I need the top tier. Not as much as the base one, but just a little. Better to so you can see all the sprinkles on there. I'm just comparing it to the photo. So I think that is fine. What I might do is add the flowers on to the sides but not the top. So that's on the top, that's on the top, that's on the top. That I think is on, that's on the side. So just because when we put it in the fridge, the buttercream is obviously going to start to set. So I'm going to add as many decorations as I can, but then I need to make the cake pop. So that's something that like I can't do straight away. That goes on the top. And then you go there. So I'm going to add a couple of the toppings as well. And then all that we're going to go in and add afterwards is the top stuff and the cake pops. But it means that all of the other toppings will be added, basically, because I don't want to do that once the buttercream starts to set. We've got some bottles here as well, so I'm going to dot those around the board, I think. I'm going to do 2 at the base, I think. Might put this one on the side. We need a bit more buttercream on there, wherever my bag is. Where have I put that? There we go. That's 2 of them. She's got 4, so I might put 1 on the top and then maybe another at the bottom. Or I might put one at the back, I think, because I don't really have space to put it at the front. So I'm just going to put it to one side, I think. Right, and then add some white chocolate buttons just around the board. You can always add some more later, but I just want to add a few. I need to add a lint, so I'm going to take that one off. And then lint balls. We had one at the side here, but we've got a bottle there, and her name's going across the front. So I'm going to go for mostly on the board. And then another one around here. So that's what we're going to go for now. And then we're going to do the drip, but I need to put this back in the fridge while we make all of the cake pops. This is so heavy. Right. Right, so that is where we're at now. I'm just bringing back up the live so that I can see. When you're doing 2-tier cakes, when would you say it's best to do the drip? Last. Has to be done last. As you can see, I've done everything else before the drip. Basically, if you need to actually stack the cakes, you can't do a drip before you stack them, basically, because otherwise you need to be able to flip them over or hold the sides, however you do it. I flip mine, but if you need to flip them over, then they can't have a drip. And if you are going to hold them by the sides, which some people do, some people don't flip, they literally just pick up and put on, then you still can't do that, because if you pick up and put on, then you're going to be holding the sides of the cake where the drips are. And unless they're hard drips, which I still wouldn't risk, because even if they are hard drips, you could still put your finger through it if you add enough force. So it's just easier to do the drips last. I do them as the last thing that goes on the cake. So we don't need any more piping, which means that I've got loads of spare buttercream, which always happens. I always have loads spare. But yeah, because the top of the cake has a drip, and then the chocolates are just going straight onto the drip. They're not like being really piped or anything. There's no piping on there. It's just like a drip, and then the chocolates are stuck to it, and that's kind of like an edge, if that makes sense. There's no frosting as an edge. So we need to melt some chocolate. We're going to make the chocolate pops. So chocolate, I think there's some over by the microwave as well. And then we've got our bits for the top of the cake. So what I'm going to do is we are going to move over to the microwave. I'm going to run and get my silicone moulds because we need them. And then we're going to just do it all over here, save us moving around. So I'm just going to move you. There we go. Right. So that was my last bowl, so I don't need that. But But yeah, it's actually, it feels really weird remaking my cake. I don't know why. It just feels really weird because I'm like, it's like deja vu. I'm making exactly like, obviously I do a lot of cakes which are recreations of my cake. Usually they're slightly different, or they are the same but they're just like a birthday cake for someone else. They're not like nostalgic to me. But yeah, this is, it feels weird because it's like my birthday cake's being recreated. So it's flattering because it was a very big cake. It was a very like big and out there cake. So I'm surprised someone wanted it for themselves, but it means that next year I need to make it even bigger and better. So yes, next year I might do a 3-tier, but with, if I don't need the cake. So we will see. But I feel like every year I've got to top myself. Like, I've got to be better than the last year. Right, it's 2 o'clock. So we've been going for 2 hours, which is fine because it's a 2-tier cake, so it's going to take, I mean, I sometimes take 2 hours to do standard ones, but I will be done by 2:30, which means that it can then stay in the fridge. I'm not leaving until, she said between 5 and 6, so I was going to text her to say I'll leave at 5, I think, because traffic and things like that, you don't want to be sat in the car with a cake, so I might say that to her. I might say, when do you need it for, between 5 and 6, because yeah, that'll be rush hour, and it's right on the bit where rush hour is, so I might say that to her to avoid it sitting in a car. So yes, we will see, but at least it will be able to stay in the fridge solidly for 2.5 hours without being taken out. And it's been in the base coat, like the crumb coat, has been in there all night, but it's just the actual final coat which hasn't. And then I need to decorate some brownies, which I need to go and post, but I'm probably going to take those with me when I go and deliver her cake, and then I'll post them on the way home. So yeah, that's what's happening with that. But I just need to make sure they're all ready to go by the time I need to leave. What else do I need to do? I need to make her name tag for it. Apart from that, that's the only thing I've got to do. It just needs her name. So where my name went on my birthday cake, that was made out of acrylic, but again, because it was last minute, I said that I don't make acrylic toppers, so I said that I can only do card, because otherwise it won't arrive in time. So yeah, we need to make that on the Cricut. She said just her name. She didn't specify what colour or anything. So the card topper that she was originally going to have was just going to be gold. Card topper, like happy birthday topper. So I'm going to do it the same as that. I did think about layering it, but I don't know if that's what she wants. So yeah. And I did like confirm a few things, but there was a few things that, like, when I asked, they weren't confirmed. So I just thought, okay, I'll go with like my standard like practice. So my standard for cake toppers, if someone doesn't confirm what they want, then I'll just do like a 1-layered card, not like multicolored. Because yeah, sometimes it's a bit like when you're messaging people, instead of them calling you for a cake, it's easier to just, if they don't confirm something and you've asked a couple of times, then I'm just like, right, I'm just going to go with the standard thing that everyone goes for, because then I know that it won't be wrong. And because that was the original topper that she was going to go for, I'm going to stick with that. So yes, I'm just looking at the brownies that I made without the sugar, and they just look so weird. Yeah, it looks so weird. They did not go right. So I'm going to throw those away. Oh, someone just purchased. I don't know if they're on the live or not. Thank you to Sophie. Someone just purchased something on my website. Yeah. We are just waiting for this to melt. It needs another 25 seconds. I'm doing it in 25-second bursts because it's white chocolate. I find that needs a little longer. I always find white chocolate melts slower than milk, so I always do it for 25 instead of 20. So yes, I think the signal's better now as well, so that's good. I reset the Wi-Fi because we have issues with it. That's Virgin Media for you. I think that's it. I've got so many things going around in my head. Tomorrow's like a day off for me, which is rare. I don't actually, like, there's days where I don't have any cakes, but I still do like postals, or where I have days off but I'm still doing admin, or I've got a YouTube video to do. But tomorrow I don't actually have anything. I'm going to meet up with my friend tomorrow, so going to the pub, and then we're going out tomorrow, which is why I didn't book in any cakes, because we were meant to go last week but we didn't. So we're going to that adult thing that I told you about. It's an adult like play area, so it's got dance mats, it's got soft play, it's got a free arcade, so all the machines, as far as I'm aware, are free. So yeah, you can just like play on them as much as you like. So I'm very excited for that because I've never done that before. So that's what we're doing tomorrow. So we're going to get like dressed up and do that. I'm going to do my makeup and everything and my hair, but I'm not actually going to like wear dressed up because obviously we're going to be rolling around in a play area or something. But yeah, it's very exciting. So chocolate's melted. Ow, I hurt my ankle. I always lean funny. Always like bend one leg and not the other, and then when I stand up properly it hurts my joints because I am like an older person. Not to offend any old people, but my joints are terrible. Right, our chocolate is melted. What was I meant to do? Get the silicone moulds. I'm glad my brain is working. So I'm going to run and get the silicone moulds. We're doing a heart one, we're doing a twister one, and we're doing number ones. So I'll run and get those. So we have our moulds. I'm just checking everything was done in white, so that's nice and easy. All of the chocolates were white, so we're just going to use white chocolate, not colour it. And I put some gold leaf on it and what do you call it? Gold leaf. I think that was it. I don't think there's any splatter on them from the photo, from what I can see. So, white chocolate, and she's 33. So we're gonna do, I'll have to, because I've only got one mould, I'm gonna do a 3, shove it in the freezer, take it out, then do another 3. So yes, because otherwise we will not be able to do it at the same time. I've got loads of gold leaf on this. I don't know how. My moulds are just covered in gold leaf. I think it's where they've been in the drawer. And that's covered in gold leaf. It just sticks to everything. This is why I don't use my hands or like paint brushes to put it on, because it's just stuck to everything. So I'm going to pan you down. We have a massive bomb site here, so pre-warning. I need a lollipop stick for the twister one. And for these, I just use kids' craft sticks, the little like food safe lolly sticks that you can buy from various places, because they come in packs of like 100, so it's very easy to do. So we are going to do these two first, and these are solid chocolate ones because unless someone specifies cake pops, in which case they're charged more because I have to bake the cake for inside them. Unless they specify, they are just chocolate pops, which is a lot easier and quicker than cake pops. So right, so those two can go in the freezer. Balancing act to get them in. That was like, I was very gentle, making sure that they don't fall off. So we've got our number 3. So it's covered in gold leaf. It's really annoying. Right, we should have enough chocolate to do both because these numbers don't usually use very much. Yeah, so we'll keep that there. Just get out some of the air bubbles. So where can we balance this? Okay, so apart from the drip, that's all pretty much done. So just gonna put a few things to one side. Rubbish. And we've got a couple of little flowers left because I didn't want to put them on until I put the cake pops on, because then you kind of see how much room you got left. That is going to go on the top of the cake because I don't have anywhere else to put it and I need to fit it in somewhere. And yeah, all we got to do is the drip. So we are trying to find the one that I used. That's the one that I used. And you. So we've got our white chocolate spreads. I've got 2 that are open. They're open literally like 2 days after each other because I'm silly. So I'm going to mix them together because it's obviously the same product. So there's a little bit in each. So I'm going to mix them both together and then we'll have hopefully enough. So we'll probably have too much because I always do way too much for the drip. But yeah, the problem is because it's not so bad with white or milk, but if you're making a colour, you don't want the colour to be different if you have to remake it. So I'd prefer to have too much of a drip if it's coloured and then it goes to waste, because otherwise you risk having to remake and like do another colour and then the colour being different, and you never want that. So I am going to get another bowl and then mix these. Right, so that is just melting in the microwave. So I'm just waiting for that. Are you doing red velvet cakes? No, so the top one is Victoria sponge and the base is double chocolate. So that has now finished, and then we're going to get that out and do the drip, and then we'll add the cake pops afterwards. I think that's probably easiest. Also, what I love about this white chocolate spread is it always stays so white. Like, look at that. It's so white. Love it. So, I'm going to get that out. I'm going to switch the photo to the photo of the cake just so I can see what I'm doing. It's nice and set, so that's really good. Because like if you touch the buttercream, it's hard, so that's what we want. Oh, I know, I didn't think about this, did I? These flowers are going to be in the way for the drip, so I'll have to move that one. The bottle we're going to leave because it's stuck there now. So what I'll do is just make sure that that drip doesn't go very far down. I'm going to quickly pan you up because I just realised you can't actually see. So. Like, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I'm very impressed with the fact that I've managed to get this so similar, because it's different when someone says, can I have a cake like this? And they say like a pink and white drip cake, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can just do it like that cake. Whereas this person specifically wanted it exactly the same, like exactly, apart from the fact that it has gin bottles on it. But apart from that, she wanted it exactly the same. So I'm quite surprised that I've managed to get it so shockingly similar to this photo that I'm looking at. Like, did not expect that, if I'm completely honest. So, the only sprinkles it's got on the actual sides of the drip is gold. So that's what we're going to do. So, you just stick them to your finger. And then press them in, because otherwise they don't stick. They don't stick to gloves, so. And then just go around. You have to be so gentle because you will squash the drip if you're too harsh. And they all fall on the floor, just a pre-warning. Right. We're going to let that sit for a second because I don't want to put it in the fridge because everything will set And what we need to do is we need to stick the cake pops or chocolate pops to the buttercream and also to this drip. So you don't want it to set, because otherwise you're obviously not going to be able to stick them to it. So it's quite set anyway, so we've got a bit of time, which is good. I'm going to add a little bit of buttercream in here just so that I can use it to stick things on. And we are doing good for time. It's 2:20, so we are good. Right. So that drip is done, so I don't need that chocolate anymore. I remember putting a bit of this on, so I'm going to do that. So, where's the front? Here. We're going to see if these are done. You are not done. You are done. Right. We need to put the other one in here, so it's good that that's done. So we're going to put the other 3 in there and then shove that in the freezer. Those both aren't done, so can't add those on yet. We can, that's a little bit soft, so we can add that on. We can add the 3, and then I need to add the other 3. We have that fly is back. We have the other 3 cake pop going this side, and that's it. So I'm gonna add these little bits here. We're gonna add the spear on the top. So there we go. And then we need this little, oh my god, that fly is driving me mental. So I haven't put that all the way into the cake because it's fluffy, so I don't want the fluff touching the cake. And then we need a lint ball. And we are putting, so this is going on there. Then we're going to add, that can be cut down. And we just want some little bits like this just to fill out any gaps. Add a bit of something, you know. So trim that, put it on the other side. So that's what the top looks like, and we'll have a name going across there. This needs to go here, and then the cake pop will go there. And then we've got 2 cake pops on the front as well. So yeah, that is pretty identical if you ask me. So, are those cake pops done yet? A little bit soft in the middle. So we're going to have to wait, I think. Or I might put this in the fridge. Then we've got plenty of time. Because I just don't want to leave it out. I didn't want to leave my one out just because it's such a big cake. Should have opened the fridge before. Oh, I just seen on there, I've got a couple of these metallic rods in places where they're not, so I need to add. Perfect. Right, so we are pretty much done. I just need to add those cake pops on, and I don't want to take them out of the fridge prematurely because we have plenty of time. We've got 2.5 hours, so I literally just need to place them on there. I need to go and get a box because Cake Decorating Co. forgot my boxes, and I forgot about the fact that they forgot them. And then obviously I've gone to do this cake and I don't have the box that I need, so that's really annoying. I just realised I need to put this on there as well, so we're going to add that. I'm going to do it while it's in the fridge, just, it's not great for you guys, but it's easy. Perfect, and then I can add the cake pop in front of the bottle, so I've left a gap big enough for the cake pop. Cool. So, I haven't seen the chat because I've been looking at the photo, so. Are you ever going to do red velvet? If you do, is it hard to decorate? I do offer red velvet, and it's exactly the same, I think. I don't notice any difference. All of my cake flavours are exactly the same to decorate. None of them take any longer or shorter. The flavour doesn't personally make a difference for me. So yeah, it's pretty... I don't use cream frosting, if that is what you're wondering. So yeah, if you're not using cream frosting, then I think it's the same as anything else. I don't use any cream frosting because fresh cream has to be kept in the fridge, and it can't be taken out of the fridge for anything longer than, I think it's 3 to 4 hours. Otherwise it basically just goes off. So that's why I don't use it, because one, if people want to leave it on the table as decoration, they'll probably forget, and then they've got a cake which is potentially going to give them like food poisoning. So it's not something that I want to have to worry about. It's a lot easier for me to say to people, here's your cake, put it in the fridge, and then if they decide not to, it can be kept at room temperature because the buttercream doesn't have any milk in it. And obviously the cake is fine to be kept at room temperature, but the buttercream, if you put milk in it, it can't be. So that's why I don't. So yeah, it's just a lot easier to not do cream cheese frostings or like fresh cream, anything like that, because it's just more hassle. So, and it's also very rare that people want it. Whenever I do red velvet, I do it with white chocolate buttercream. Some people do it with vanilla, but I just do it with white chocolate, and I just say I don't do fresh cream because of the storage purposes, and then no one argues with that, so that's fine. So yeah, I do offer it, but just not that often. People don't usually pick it that often. There's other flavours which are more popular, so they go for those instead. But yeah, so we're pretty much done. I'm just waiting for these cake pops. If they take much longer, I might just end the live because I can add them on anytime. So that one seems like it's done. No, he's not done. It's a little bit soft on the inside. So right, I am going to end the live because it's 2:30, and that was my plan, to end at 2:30 so that I don't run over at all. And then all this tidying up is going to be done later, I think. I need to decorate these brownies, so I'm going to do that, get that over with, get them packaged, and then I can relax a little bit before. I mean, I need to go and get a cake box from somewhere, so I'm going to try the range because it's a 10-inch board, so it's easy enough to find. It's not like it's like a 11 or 12, which is more difficult. So I'm going to try the range. If I can't get it from there, then I'll go to Hobbycraft, but that's further away, so I'm trying to avoid it. So yeah, that is the plan. I hope you enjoyed, and you got to see my birthday cake again. It was a bit quicker this time. I don't know what time we're on. We're on 1:44. So 1:20 is 2 hours. So I think my birthday live was like 3.5 hours. So we're a little bit earlier than that. We're like 2 hours 15. So we're doing a bit better. We managed to do it a bit quicker. But that was because it was my birthday, so I was chatting loads. So hope you enjoyed. If you haven't already, because I can see how many people are watching and I can see how many people have liked the video. There's only 9 of you that have liked it so far. I can see that there's 11. So if anyone's forgotten to like it, make sure you go and like it now. And make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, because I'll be doing another live on Saturday. So if you hit the bell, you'll be notified when I go live on Saturday, because I will schedule it as usual. So I'll be doing another cake. That one's really fun. It's a rainbow drip cake, but it's pastels. So it's pink and purple, and it's like a light pink, light purple, dark pink, dark purple stripes, 4 stripes. And then it's got a drip, and it's loaded with sweets. It's got lots of multicolored sweets, M&Ms, fizzy laces. There's loads of really cool things that are going on there. So I'm jammy dodgers. So I'm very excited for that. And it's also for someone that orders loads of cakes off me. So I just love making her cakes because she orders so many. So this is like her 5th cake, I think. And then she's already booked in for another one in November. So yeah, she is a very favourite customer of mine, so I'm very excited for that, because that'll be really cute for her little sister. So yeah, that is the live that we're doing on Saturday, so that'll be really fun. So make sure that you subscribe for that. Like I said, I'm gonna go now, so I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later.